Good morning, everybody. It's Carpo here, and disclaimer: I'm not giving relationship advice. So here goes. I got a comment this morning from a subscriber that, sometimes I get these comments that really make me think. Or he asked if maybe I could make a video about it. But so here I am making a video about it. It's about relationships, and the question was basically, how do I? Whoops. Turn this fan off. The question was, how do I, he said that I've claimed that I've had a long relationship with my wife, which I have. We've been together for 15 years, and I've only been married for 3 years. We were engaged for 12 of them, but marriage was never a huge important issue to us. In other words, that's one of the most difficult things. Let me start off by saying the question that he was posing was that he's very into philosophy and all these particular things about life, and his girlfriend isn't. And what in particular, what do you do about a situation like that? And I say go for it. We cannot have too many philosophers. I've been pondering this idea for years, and this is why I wanted to make this video about it, because my wife and I are completely different, but we are completely the same too. We're similar in so many ways, and when we met over little things like we both hate tomatoes. Neither one of us like mushrooms, neither one of us, we have certain foods we don't like, but on top of that, same music, we listen to the same bands, and Fish and the Grateful Dead and Modest Mouse, a wide variety of different music. So we're very similar in the regards of music, very similar in the regards of intelligence. My wife is very intelligent, but she doesn't maybe realize it, but she's very smart, and she outdoes me on a lot of things because she's coherent and clear-headed. And me, on the other hand, I tend to be a little flighty, and I get really into things, and she keeps me grounded. So when you look at a relationship from a point of, let's say, a person who's younger, who's looking for a woman who's into philosophy and spirituality and all these things, and you find someone who's into these things, and then you both wander off different directions on different paths of the same idea, I think it can be even more difficult than when two completely different people live together. People have lived happy marriages having completely different religions. And that to me is just crazy, but it happens. And it happens a lot. And it's because people are able to get past just about every difference in each other. And when it comes to religion being one of the biggest ones, that shows me that people are willing to set aside anything in order to have a happy relationship with someone. So my advice would be, in that situation, to really look at the woman, not at what she thinks or believes at this point, or what she's into, but is her heart in the right place? Do you feel like she loves you? Do you feel like it's not just lust or passion, but that there's really a love there and a connection? And I could sit and talk about it all day, but you can't express that love. It has to be felt by yourself, And even then we get wrapped up in what we think is love. Like I made a video about this the other night, What is love? There's a lot of different degrees of love. And I think that, unfortunately, in many relationships, and this is what I've observed, is that it seems like love becomes tolerance. And tolerance for the other person is not acceptable. We can't just say, well, we're completely different people, we think different things, but we'll just, try to avoid each other, not have any problems. And often when there's kids involved, this becomes a major issue, because the couple won't leave each other because of the children. So in the back of their minds, maybe they're unhappy, but because the kids are there, they end up just sticking around, or out of convenience out of the relationship. But these are things that happen way later, often in life, and when you're young and you're just finding someone, your first girlfriend, your first love, whatever, someone that you're going to be with or get married to, it can be hard to know which things to set aside and which things are acceptable. And I think that most things can be set aside. Most differences can be set aside if there's true love there. And when I'm holding my wife, I mean, I may not be the best at expressing my love, but I love her more than I could ever imagine. And I'd do anything for her. And I'm just not that good at really, I guess, expressing that love. But she is, as a wife, as a woman, she tends to have more of that. So we balance each other out. And that's a major key component, is to remember balance. Because when one person's if you're thinking something in your mind, you'll always have this other part of your conscience that says, well, should I really do that? Or is this really appropriate? The little thing that nags at the back of your mind to make sure that what you're doing is right. And when you have someone that just backs up everything you say, or someone who just follows suit, it makes it difficult because you both get caught up in delusions together. Whereas in my situation, my wife keeps me very grounded. You know, if I come up with something that's like a little extreme, she's like, come on. You know, with the book I just wrote, you know, she was there to give me shit about editing it. You know, oh, you need to do better editing. You need to, you know, fix this. And I say, oh, come on, it's fine, you know. But I know she's right. She's right. She's totally right. And she's honest with me about these things. And that's what's important. Not about how similar we are to each other, but about how much we complement each other and how much honesty that we bring out in each other. Because, you know, a lot of people who appear to be maybe just members of society, just running the gamut and, you know, not really looking deeper into life. These are people that are living. And there are thinkers, and then there are livers, and there are people in between, and livers. We need all of them. We need everybody to complement. It's difficult, I guess, to express that, because in the past I've thought, you know, well, if all people thought this, and if all people felt this way, then we'd be better off. And my conclusions over, you know, the observation of history is just, or what I can see of history has shown me that that's not true. That there is no way of thinking that's conducive to everyone's lifestyle that we can all share and agree on. And so rather than having a spouse or a lover or a friend who completely backs up everything we do and agrees with us and follows along with what we do and is spiritual like we are, you know, set all that aside and realize that those ideas change over time, but love doesn't change. True love. So if a relationship isn't based in that love, and you have to learn to distinguish between love and lust, but if it's not based in love, then it will never endure. And there's nothing sadder to me than seeing old couples that fight and bicker all the time. So to those who are already in relationships, I would say, if you come home and you fear meeting your spouse, or fear seeing your spouse, or you don't want to get into it, so maybe you go to the bar after work, or, you know, go out with friends so you don't have to deal with your wife or husband, that's something to consider, because this is your team. You know, this is your team. And if you have children, it makes it even more difficult, because often the couple will just live unhappily in order to hope that the children will have two parents, but they don't realize that they're fighting and bickering the whole time in front of the kids, and it's just not worth it. So my wife and I have differences of opinion, but we don't yell at each other. Sometimes we go harumph, you know, grumble under our breath or something, but it's quickly diminished. So without some sort of a conflict, some arguments, you know, things get weird. You know, if you're not having arguments with those you live close with, if you're not having some sort of a disagreement, maybe not an argument, but a disagreement, then maybe you're just, you know, following suit in what they believe. I don't know. And that's, I guess we all have to consider these things. We're all just people. For me, I thank the universe for the wife that I met. She's a wonderful woman, and I could not ask for anybody else. There's nobody I can imagine that I would rather be with. And although I don't express that very well to her, I think she knows that I feel that way.